than like first draft of aggregated data. So
I think these live this meeting like in a physical space is so needed. So I still want to thank also the sponsors here that get to hear, because otherwise you wouldn't know that there's a small group now doing this. And
anyway, it's nice to see people who agree that very much we are sharing a vision.
yeah. Okay, this is of course a proposal, still proposal. This is an idea, yeah. So we need input from you. We need. Do you see this as useful?
Yes. Please add good license for the data which we acquired there.
which license you don't have?
I don't know, but it needs to, if you want to fork one day, you need to do that. So otherwise people don't want to share their data and contribute. It's not on the software, it's on the data itself.
Sure.
I think it's a very nice idea, but I don't believe wiki is the answer to I think what should be added was what is missing here is this is all very technical.
Yeah, I think
there's a lot of space for to integrate something like the moving part of it. How do we like those functions? What approaches are there? Also, what is their user base? Why is it there? Who is the consumer, if you will? Who is are they consumers of the network? Are they users of that? Are they contributing to it? What is the model? What's the purpose? Things like that. So
that would be also great. So yeah, we started just with that schema and now developed all this. And but I also agree we should go beyond just technical. We should go also and we can use also this wiki if it's okay. You can also make it's wiki, so you can do it. You can just start it and do a new section with list of all wireless networks, how they approached it, why they approached it, what's the current problems, funding ways, whatever. It is a wiki, so you just fill it. So yeah, it started from technological questions, but it should definitely go also to layer 8, not just.
Nico's first, sorry.
Actually, the technical part I think is the typical, because what we share really is we share the motivation and we share common goals and the whole philosophy. But on the technical side, we use different IP allocations, different topologies. For example, in Athens, what we call know this another thing, and what you call know. And I believe if we want, especially to have an RFC, we have to, change the way we should find some way somehow understand the way of abstracting things. Because for example, we don't use OLSR, we use BGP, and we don't really wear a mesh network. And our topology doesn't look like a mesh network.
Okay. This is what we want. This is what we do here is collect for different network systems in which describe these networks, how they describe. For example, how they describe in Polar and similar. And then we can see here, okay, they have node. Okay, what is this node? And this would be on the meeting we would like to make. And that we from all networks get together and I say, okay, we think this node, the route is this. And then somebody else, okay, but we understand node like this. And then we find a common description and write it down and make a RFC at the end which will describe, okay, we name node this.
We can also have, I believe the first step is to have something like, when you connect to the network, what are the first steps? For example, what's the IP of the DNS server, or what is a website, or we can, in Italy, we played with DNS stuff, we had the blah 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 .awmn postfix, and we had a couple domain. Maybe we can go for and register a domain.
Yeah, we can have like a sponsored top level domain. This is the idea what I propose here.
I believe a top level domain would be nice. A w.l or w would be
It's expensive, by the way.
It depends.
In my it doesn't. In my daytime job, I work at a registry for AT, and it's at the moment there is a process going on for new top level domains, ICANN, like W9, things like that you had here, and it's damn expensive. We don't want new participants in that market.
So we need one server.
But
Yeah.
we can have something like
But this can be internal.
Yeah, sure. We
Internal-
can have
internal
internals,
cheap.
and then someday export it out.
Yeah, so and this is my idea. We have internal root servers for this top
We
level
already have that
domain.
in Greece. In Greece we have different, we have AWN in Athens, we have HWN on Thessalonica, and we have a global .hw like the last wireless top level domain. So we have like AWN.hw and everything.
Okay, but we're going into the technical
Yeah.
details now, so
we
I
can
think we should stop.
exchange ideas and come up with something that we can all implement the same way. If we want.
Yes, exactly. That's the
Because
idea.
like, at the moment we are very different.
Yeah, but
that's
first
the
you have to
idea.
describe it. First, everybody, if you have to describe what you have, then we can
Okay,
search.
so we can do this on the wiki, you say?
So
Just add to the wiki.
Okay,
I would like to cut it off now with the technical details because that's the meeting happening then. I'll inform you like in a couple of months. Mita's wish was in the hut when it's
No, that's just a proposal.
because we need to stick together then. But you will be informed about it, okay?
From now on, let's say, going forward, there's lots of, this is a very ambitious project.
Okay.
And I think that's an exciting thing because I mean, if we were somewhat successful, that will be a huge improvement in terms of the future. So that's the first thing to. Then the last thing is that it's too huge. It's very easy since we want to describe lots of things different. If you get into the details, we can easily get lost. Right. So trying to put the things in order and create a roadmap. That's why I wanted to do. And the roadmap, not something strict. We can. First thing is to have a meeting.
Yeah.
But the global idea is here that we have a lot of knowledge here. Athens has a database. We have a database. You have a database. There is lots of databases already.
And knowledge.
So this is the input. So sometimes we have to sit down together. We will see that although we call the things different names, what's a node, what's a location, what's a point of presence, what's a link, what's a whatever. Describe a common thing and the example. And first of all, first step is agree in that one. Which one is going to be another one? For sure will be different. But right now we are talking on XML and we know where to go. First step, first milestone. Have a common schema. So will be differences to all of us. And we have to realize that it's very easy to create a tool that it gets one schema. We as a database or Athens or Vienna, you will have two options. To either natively, we already export our database in XML format. Everybody can do it. There is many tools for doing that. So as long as we have attached an FFCX schema, we will be able to translate natively or XML to the one which is going to be, or do a translator or some kind of translator. And as soon as we have that, people in future developments will be able to develop against that schema. So taking the information from here, be able to display on a map, be able to create tools for creating forms in a certain way to develop this. So in highlights, the roadmap is first create this one, have a meeting for.
I would like to cut it off now if that's possible because we have 15 more minutes, okay? And this is really all, sorry, I hope
That was
very
great.
technical and it will happen then, yeah? It's just that I want to have this still, this talk is that that's for sure one way forward. Okay, we agree. Yeah? But is there anything else in the room that people say this needs to be done in the next 5 years? We need to do that. And that's what I still want to catch in the last 15 minutes if possible. So 4 hands already, okay. Good, with 5 hands, so 5 minutes, no, 3 minutes each. Sven was first.
Okay, it's really easy. May I add something to the wish list? Please do KISS. It's keep it simple stupid.
Okay.
Otherwise the thing will not fly.
Keep it simple, stupid.
KISS.
KISS. You know the word all together, and I'm always a fan of it, and this is my number 1 on the wish list.
So I think that he was first.
It's just a small idea on it. I would like to go with net surfing. in the sense that if I'm not part of a community network, like say in Vienna, like if I'm part of a community network in Vienna and I'm contributing something to it, it would be nice if there was some kind of way that I can travel to Berlin, for example, and through my here, maybe specially configured laptop or something device, I can just go there and already have connectivity with that network. Not necessarily using just the same. maybe we have for traveling, Flugfeuer or Freiburg or something members, some common scheme, so I can just travel somewhere else where there's a community network event.
You have a special device, it's located here
That's
and
a
there.
good feature for the node database. You can integrate like authentication between the
It's just
user
that we don't need to
European
make
wide.
it's just a standard, small common standard, specifics.
Or maybe
Fine,
just
just,
a description for every network how you
yeah, maybe
log in.
like range, whatever.
Okay, Richard?
I've been inspired by the community fiber.
Community fiber.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a little out of our reach, but after this summit, it feels like it's really within our grasps. And you know, linking up our knowledge with the wireless networks, point-to-point and mesh, and then you know, great fiber backhaul our own. I mean, that would be fantastic. And so next year, I'm really looking forward to hearing about more projects that are starting to bury their own fiber. You know.
Somebody else will be
An idea that just occurred to me that this morning that I was talking with Luke about for something the Open Spectrum Alliance might do with the communities.
Louder.
Oh, louder? Sorry.
Turn around.
Okay. I don't know how much you follow European politics, but the European Parliament is being formed right now. And we have a chance, I think, to organize a meeting for members of the European Parliament to publicize what wireless networks are doing and could do in connecting rural broadband customers, because they have a commitment now to connect everybody in Europe to broadband by 2014, which is simply not practical as a business proposition. And I've tried for years to get them to recognize that community wireless can do this cheaper and without a lot of risk. Anyway, I hope that my wish list would be to organize, you know, an educational meeting for members of the Parliament in the next couple of months, to have you come to present, you know, your project and some proof of concept on the ground, you know, so that people are more aware of it.
Does everybody here in the room know what the Open Spectrum Alliance is? Somebody who doesn't know, please raise your hands. Okay.
Doesn't know.
Doesn't know. Okay.
I don't really know exactly what it is.
So
They hosted a barbecue a couple nights ago, right?
Yes, probably.
Bob, do you want to explain it, or should I? Just
Well,
okay. So briefly, we got together in May 2000 last year, and we said this digital dividend part of the radio spectrum, which was going to be released from the analog TV space. So that's 790 to 862, something like that. This was under discussion in Europe and also in the States, right? And the question was, could we get some part of that spectrum as unlicensed, like ISN? And we had a meeting actually here at Tech 8 in the other building, and formed a small group of people who are interested in talking with the EU, talking with policymakers. It's more of a policy hacking group. It was also funded by OSI at the first meeting, and we were able to make, with a very determined effort by Bob and a few others, to make a few statements at the EU level. Really. So this was, for me as a techie, pretty much an eye-opener that we can actually do that. And this, what we really saw is that, if the policy people, the tech people work together, we can at least get a voice, even though it's small, but we do get a voice there. And people started to recognize us a little bit. So this group is going to meet on Sunday in the Sunday morning and have the first general assembly. So I guess whoever is interested, just join in. And it will be a little bit bureaucratic stuff because we have to do that according to law, but it will also have a discussion about what's the next step for the open spectrum device. So it's a combination of techies and people in spectrum policy hacking. Okay.
It's not only about white space. It's not only about
it's more.
Let me see, I have here the mission statement.
The short term is like white space. Long term is probably even more freedom.
More license frequency over the whole spectrum.
Yes.
Just a quick item if we're sort of like wanting to add items to a wish list. Is that I'm curious about what existing resources there are about sharing legal advice. Just because when you create a new mesh network, you kind of project yourself into gray areas, and there's some things you can learn yourself the hard way, but learning from other people's successes and failures can really help with establishing further progress.
Good point.
Also, for what wish list, I believe we also, as a community, big communities, plural, are big consumer base. And if you together would buy equipment, we could get a lower price. Because currently we have small group there, bigger group there, or even individuals going and buy it at the store. And if we would maybe do some fundraising together, or fund collecting together, so that and buy a bigger bunch of some equipment which we could use, we could get lower prices and even help each other in the sense that maybe some community which is just starting doesn't have yet enough turnover, how to say, to and then we could start up them in a sense, so we incubator or whatever. So maybe this would help.
Before we started the meeting, Bob and I were discussing things that what OSA should do in the future. And one of the things that may be of interest is that the community networks themselves form a platform, so that they have also a voice to European policies, politicians, but also national politicians. So you are stronger. And if you have a platform, then when you put something on the record, OSA may be able to support that. And then you can make your case stronger and stronger.
Would that be interesting?
Yeah? Who would support it?
Yeah.
Which group would support it?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. So it depends on what it is, or what's the issue?
Yeah, it depends on the site conditions, because as you may know, we are not a homogene group.
Yes.
Something that we are a dozen groups. I don't know. I have lost track. And to convince the others, you need to make sure that it's a matter of power, maybe, and a matter of goals, of course. So
something which we need, what everybody can agree on, and give a
yes,
mandate.
and this is typically a very common